Hello, and welcome back to Lessons Learned. This is Laura Wilpert, and today we are going to discuss the 4 books that made a massive impact on my life and my future. I think it's no secret that most of us find ourselves at a crossroads at least once in our life, where we're not quite sure what we're doing or what direction we're moving in. I found myself in one of these positions in 2016, 2017, through to 2018, if I'm being honest. I was 35 to 38 years old, and I was just not sure what I was doing with my life. I was just kind of putting one foot in front of the other, and I needed some direction. Someone who was very close to me at the time recommended a book to me. The first time I read it, it didn't quite sink in. It didn't quite hit me the way that it would the second time I read it. I think I needed to be in the right mindset to receive the message that it was trying to deliver. I needed to be a little less woe is me and be a little bit more, how do I fix this, in order for the book to have the impact it needed it to have. So from here on out, I'm going to talk a little bit about each book and why it had a tremendous impact on me and how it might be able to help you if you find yourself at a crossroads. The first book in my top 5 was that book that was recommended to me and took a couple readings to actually sink in. The book is called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Now, this book has gone through a couple of different waves of popularity and, fandom, if you will, cult classic. Some people think it's a load of hooey, and some people really do believe in the magic of the law of attraction. I think no matter what side you land on in that conversation, this book gives you the opportunity to look at things in a very different way. And for me, it was more about the story I was telling myself and the tone of the conversations I was having with myself about my present state or my future that this book had an impact on. It's kind of like think happy thoughts. That's the phrase that I take from it. It's about what you're thinking about is what you'll be about. And I do believe that no matter how much stake you put into the law of attraction or not, and your interpretation of it, this book taught me to think happy thoughts, to always try and find the silver lining, and to really guard my self-talk. We are often our own worst enemy. And when something brings your attention to that, and brings your consciousness to evaluating how you speak to yourself, you can have a tremendous shift in your attitude and in the life around you when you start to guard that self-talk and be very conscious of speaking with positivity and optimism. It has an effect both on you and on your surroundings, the people you surround yourself with, and the outcome of a lot of situations. Whether you put full stake into it or you just simply use it as a guide to change the way that your inner consciousness speaks to you and to the events of your life, I think this book can have a major impact on everyone. Now, if you're not much of a book reader, you're probably not watching this, but also, note to self, this was a documentary before it was a book. It's a little bit backwards in how it's usually done, but you can still, to this day, find The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, the documentary, on Netflix. So if you're not much of a reader, maybe start there. But warning, it's a little cheesy. The book is a little bit easier for me to digest than the documentary. Maybe you'll be the same way. So if The Secret was the book that first brought the law of attraction to my consciousness, then this next book was the book that really made me be able to relate to it and integrate it into my everyday life. The book is called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. When I first read this book, I genuinely thought the author was writing about my life. And I just thought she was a much more humorous version of myself. And that's what kind of hooked me. And then it was the practical application of these lofty ideas that I had read about in The Secret. It was her application of guarding her self-talk and thinking happy thoughts and believing that she can achieve that which she wishes. So it was very enlightening, and I think it's the layman's application of The Secret and the law of attraction, if you will. She's hysterical, and her life is relatable. And because of that, I think she makes the law of attraction digestible for a much more broad audience than something like The Secret. So if you want a really good laugh, but you want some practical advice as to how to deploy the law of attraction in your own life so as to start achieving some of those lofty goals you have for yourself, then You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero is a great place to start. After speaking about book number 2, book number 3 probably won't come as much of a surprise. It is You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. If you're anything like me, you grew up with some pretty twisted ideas about money. It doesn't grow on trees, and it's dirty, and it brings out the worst in people. The list goes on and on. But money can also bring out the best in people. I think money truly just shows what people are really made of. It is a means to an end. It is a tool. Money itself is not evil. People are or can be, and money just helps shine a light on that when that is who they are at their core. But most of us are really good people, and we're people who, with the opportunity to have wealth and to have the money, can live the life of our dreams. And that life can have a wonderful and great impact on the people around us and the world at large. Most of us want to do good, and most of us want to do good when we have a surplus. This book is about changing your mindset about money, understanding that you're worthy of living the lifestyle that you deserve and having the money to support it. And that by giving, you also receive. I definitely had some hang-ups about money. It was always a little bit of a struggle. There were 5 kids, and my dad was a single father, or not single father, sorry. My dad was the only one bringing in a steady income. My mom worked very hard to raise the 5 of us. And with that mindset, it was always very much watching every single penny. And it was difficult for me to stop weighing the value of every single dollar. And not that you shouldn't. You should understand the value of every single dollar. But you should also understand that money is not a burden, and it's not a prison that we live in. It is a tool to help us make a greater impact in this world and live a life that we deserve and dream of. This book, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero, helped change my mindset around money. It didn't necessarily make me more. It didn't change the way that I spent money. It certainly didn't change my accounting skills, but it changed my mindset and put me in a place where I was able to then look for another resource that would help me to start managing my money in a different way and use it as the tool that it was always meant to be. The fourth and final book we're going to talk about today is called The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He has a podcast Sorry. He has a podcast that is widely listened to, and his book is a bestseller and has been released in several different versions since it came out. The book is fairly new to me, and I had already started on my own to deploy some tactics to, I guess you can say, right the ship of my financial situation while I was living in Los Angeles. I had begun to live in a cash world. I had stopped using all of my credit cards and was only living within my cash means. And it was definitely a transition and took a little while to get used to, but it's something that I swear by to this day as having changed my financial future in a massive way. Shortly after I moved home from Los Angeles, I had seen a couple of friends conversing on social media about this book and the impact that it had had on their life. One of those friends I knew quite well. She owns a salon in town, and she's much younger than I and owns both her house and her business outright because of the practices she put into place from reading this book. So, of course, I had to get the book and read and see what it was all about. It is as if you're sitting down with your really rich uncle and he's giving you the best tips he could ever give to get your financial life on track. It doesn't feel like a economics book or a personal finance 101 book. It doesn't feel like you're being preached to. It feels like you're being coached by somebody who loves you and somebody who wants you to succeed. There are some very simple practices that he suggests at the beginning of his book. The first is to create a small emergency fund nest egg, and the other is to transition into that cash-only life. I was really happy that I was already 2 steps in when I started reading this book and that I could start deploying the next factors of getting myself to a debt-free and financial freedom lifestyle. There are some very simple tactics that he takes and suggests and teaches in this book, and it has set me on a path that has allowed me to pay off some major debts very early. I paid off my car just a couple of months ago, 8 months early. I have a personal loan that I had taken out in order to pay off my credit cards and consolidate that debt down to a much lower interest rate. And that will be paid off a little over a year early and very soon. And that will leave me with just my student loans. And with that being the only debt, I will be able to pay much more towards principal much more quickly and pay off that debt in a time frame that I never could have imagined just 3 or 4 years ago. I think out of all of these, for my long-term mental, emotional, financial, and physical health, this book, The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, has had the most impact. And I suggest this book to every single person who will listen. These are the top 4 books that have helped me to change my mindset, improve my financial health, and look forward to the future with nothing but hope and optimism. I hope that you can take a moment to look at these books, to consider reading them, and consider taking the information to heart. I truly believe that there is so much that we are capable of, and sometimes we just need a little nudging in order to unlock that potential. Let me know which book you end up reading and the impact that it has on your life. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Take care.